Hello and welcome to Moving Parts Gaming. I'm Riley, and this is Fallout 1. In case you missed it last time, we left LA behind and made our way out to the glow. After letting ourselves into the glow, we made it down about 4 levels. We killed a whole bunch of sleeping robots because we're brave people. Got poisoned and set off a ton of traps. We're still taking damage from poison, so there's that too. Now, we just lost a few chess games against a chess-playing supercomputer, and are going to continue down into the lower levels of the research facility. Our goal is to specifically try to turn the electricity back on. Oh, come on. Is to try to turn the electricity back on, but the power station is in the bottom of the vault. Not the vault. The base. But also, take everything that's not nailed down. I probably didn't stress that point enough in the last video, but there's a lot of amazing loot. I mean, like, amazing loot in here. We are taking everything that we can get our hands on. We're leaving no container unlooted here. I'm pretty sure we were supposed to hit some kind of progression blocker at some point in here that would have forced us to go to the lower levels. I say I think, but I'm not 100% sure. Because right now, the only thing that's pushing us to lower levels... Oh, blue key card, just what I needed. Because right now, the only thing pushing us to the lower levels is the thought of more loot. And also more experience, because I also want to kill more stuff. I really want to get to level 12, which is the next level. Yeah, level 12. Almost there. A few more robots and I should be there. I could also just farm Death Claws. I think they have the Death Claws... I think in LA, they have the Death Claw respawn rate so high, so that you're able to farm them for experience, until you get to a high enough level to actually kill the Deathclaw Mother. However, we've killed basically everyone, and done every quest available in the game, and we still don't have enough experience. Or we still aren't a big enough badass to take on the Mother Deathclaw yet. So, who knows? I think this is supposed to be a blue door. Yeah, that's a blue door. But then we have the blue key. Like I showed last time, trying to get one of these doors open when you don't have the key just gets you hurt. And because we've been taking damage, it seems you need more than emergency power to get the door open. Okay, so if we want to get to floor number 5, we need to turn the actual full power on. So that will be interesting. Finally, we hit that progression blocker I was looking for. And of course, I take 1 damage to static shot. I knew that was coming as soon as I hit the button. So I believe it's time for floor number 6. Like I said, I'm not going to be killing the robots on here until after I get the power on, just so I can show off how deadly they really are. Of course, oh, there's the... I think that's to turn on the full power. But of course, instead of going right there, let's continue looting. I'm sure I'll mention it in editing at some point, but if you remember in Necropolis, in the vault, it was Vault 12, all the glowing ones that tried to talk to us and then just shot them. Yeah, none of those people would have gone hostile to us. You do not have to kill the glowing ones in the vault in Necropolis. The only time they go hostile to you is if you start opening containers and trying to loot stuff, but we didn't find any... Oh, plasma pistol. So I think that's the second confirmed drop of a plasma pistol. The first one being in the sewers of Necropolis. Oh, townsmen. Oh, they all have names now. That was the point. Yeah, because we downloaded the list of names for people that were stationed here. So now we can identify the dead bodies, which doesn't mean anything to us. Remains of peasant. What? Looks like the remains of a small child. Maybe that is actually the remains of a small child. There were a few changes made to the game based on sensors and ratings review boards. I think, of course, the most famous were that drugs were changed to chems. Was that may have been standard in number 2. But of course, the story everyone knows is that the Australian ratings review board said you couldn't have drugs, and you can't have morphine. You can't have morphine. You can't have steroids. You can't have... What else can't you have? Amphetamines, that kind of stuff. So all of the chems in the game or in the series have analogs to real-life drugs. Power failure, generator 6, inoperable, service needed. Are you generator 6? Let's see. Repairs number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, number 8. Fix it. You failed to start up the generator and also would take damage from being poisoned. Oh, we fixed it! And gained 1,000 experience. That went a lot faster than I thought it would. So let's turn the power back on. Yep, and all the lights come up. Beautiful. But now I need to switch over to a gun because also all of the robots are alive. Yeah, that is definitely a dead kid, not a peasant. I want to make sure all of my companions are close as we move forward. Yep, there they are. And I'm actually going to fall back instead of fighting this. At least... And yeah, I at least didn't want to be the only one in harm's way. And the Robo-Brain rolls forward. We should be able to kill the Sentry Eyebot thing pretty quickly. See, I want to take 3 steps, and I don't want to hit... Wow, that's a terrible angle. I'll do a single shot aimed, I guess. Because we were... I'll hit, I don't know, the CPU. Doesn't matter. Okay, we killed it at least. Yeah, I was trying to kill the Mother Deathclaw, and one thing I read online suggested shooting it in the legs, which doesn't work if you have companions, just saying. But if you shoot it in the legs and disable both of its legs, it can't chase you anymore. So then you can kite it around and continue shooting it. Oh, we're ganging up on it now. It doesn't stand a chance. I promise these things can be pretty hard if you let it. Oh, it has a sniper rifle too. Did it even get a shot off on us? Because that could have done a ton of damage. And of course now we can finally go to that mythical floor number 5. The last floor we haven't been to yet. I'm expecting this one to be like the floor of robot initialized death research or something. Deactivate the death field on the elevator. It's going to be like death in traps. Just everything that would get me killed. Why did I just earn 1,000 experience points? You hear a constant mechanical humming on this level. Oh, that... I honestly can't remember what the drive was for us to come down to the lowest level, or why we just got 1,000 experience points. I want to say it was tied to a quest, but I'm not 100% sure. But the important part is, look at all of those wall safes. We just hit the mother lode of loot. But of course, look at all of those sentry bots. We have to fight our way through 2 rooms worth of sentry bots, and also this looks vaguely plot-related. Research kind of stuff. I think there's a plot-related item in here somewhere. And of course they were doing FEV research, so I think we do get information on FEV stuff here. But that is an acronym that doesn't mean anything to us at this very moment. Oh god. So Katya decided her best, the best thing for her was to use melee weapons for at least 1 turn. And there's that, yeah, you can see the animation, so the Robo-Brains holding shotguns and stuff. It looks ridiculous, yeah. And they just pull it off their back. Tycho was critically hit. Okay, at least the sentry bots don't do a whole lot of damage. I take 3 steps. I don't want to risk hitting any of my companions. Can I disable you somehow? It would be cool if I could knock you to the ground, but I don't think robots work that way. Can I make you drop your gun? I don't think that's a thing in this game. The robot attempts to compensate, so maybe it has worse aim, but it's point-blank range, so it's not like that matters. I think their DPS is so low we don't have to worry too much. I hope. I'm trying to keep a better eye on all of my companions, making sure no one's close to death. What does the regulator do? For 3 points, that's basically nothing. And I can't cede any more ground. We are all kinds of bunched up right now. We really need to kill these two guys and space ourselves out. Ouch. Yeah, we are very low on health. We need to spend our next turn. Yeah, they just don't have the DPS to fight us. But our health is very low. Huh, I have 2 motion sensors. And I think that has to be my turn. I'm going to spend the rest of my points getting out of the scrum of people. Tycho gets back up and burns a whole bunch of stim packs. We take another shotgun blast. They must have combat shotguns. It would be embarrassing to see them using the old style double barrel shotguns. Like, why have... If you... That only did 9 damage, jeez. It'd be embarrassing for this, like, military research installation to have advanced robo-brains wielding... No. Oh, I was just killed, wasn't I? For exactly 80 points of health. I wonder if I stand close enough to the wall I can convince the companions to open the door for me? Maybe? No. Well then, I'm going to stand right there and activate combat myself. Which means we get the drop on them this time. And of course, Katja decides to do her shooting with her fist. I'm just going to use... Okay, we aren't as bunched up this time around. We dropped the first sentry bot fairly quickly, too. I think we're getting just much better rolls this time around. And of course, we wait on the slow robo-brain to roll its way towards us. And like I was saying, I was planning on rushing through the door. Oh, can I still do that? Oh, I can. Yeah, I'm just going to do that because I don't want to get bunched up. I'll keep running. I want to get over here. And we do pretty good damage against it, too. Ouch. Ouch, that was a ton of damage. Hopefully we get our turn before this guy gets his, because we might end up with a repeat of last time if that happens. And I spend my last few points just laying down a little bit of damage. Wow, 40 points of damage. That was a great shot, Tycho. It's really hard to tell how armor works in this game. There are armor... Well, it is and it isn't. From a strictly defensive perspective, it's not that hard to figure it out, because it is just damage reduction, I believe. However, there's armor-piercing bullets and hollow point bullets, but it's impossible. From what I've read on the documentation, it really doesn't make a difference which ones you use. And I just needlessly burned those points, but it doesn't matter too much. Ouch, Tycho's going through a lot of stim packs. At least they aren't smart enough to focus their fire. And then that was Ian finishing off that. Robo-Brain. And I'm going to lay down some more burst fire. And of course, I get my nice area of effect. Oh, there's number 2. So now we just have the little guys left. And of course, jeez, Tycho just... Oh no. No, Tycho was just knocked to the ground. No need to worry. But Tycho decided his best way to spend the end of his turn was stabbing a robot. So maybe he can shove a fork in that toaster or something. Is that the end of combat? And there we go. 1600, so a decent amount of experience. How close are we to leveling up? Oh, so close. So close. So I think it is worth pointing out real fast that the Robo-Brain in this room was using the old-timey double-barrel shotgun, but the two in the other room, the ones that were doing all the damage to me and killed me that first time, were actually using sniper rifles. So that's where all that damage was coming from. Good thing for me, sniper rifles sell for a decent number of caps, so I'm getting very rich off of those guys. I think that's it for this level, like this level of the glow. I'm going to loot it real fast, and I'll let you know when and if I find anything interesting. Catch you in a few minutes. So, in the room over on like the left side of the floor, and the locker over here, I think we found that plot-sensitive bit of intel that we were looking for. So this hollow disk hard drive looking thing. I think it's supposed to be a hollow disk, but it looks more like a hard drive, like an actual disk hard drive, not an SSD. Yeah, SSD. Back in my day, this is a strange-looking diskette of some sort. Perhaps it can be used with your Pip-Boy 2000. Pip-Boy 2000 display. Downloading data, done. Have a nice day. You gain 200 experience. Waste 1. So it doesn't tell us anything. Oh, the label says FEV experiments log. Okay. Open up Pip-Boy. Go to archives. Yes. Here we go. Log date, March 21st, 2075. So 2 years before the Great War, year and a half before the Great War-ish. Major Barnett has ordered experiments with batch 10-011 of pan-immunity virion, which has been renamed FEV for forced evolutionary virus. His main concern is with the side effects of the quad helix structure rather than its main effect of replicative stability. He believes the new structure is the next logical step for mammalian nuclei. Experiments with single-celled organisms is a great success. While their basal metabolism appears unchanged, their immunity to infection and radiation is exceeding all earlier expectations. Addendum: chloroplasts seem unaffected by the virion. Further experimentations on plant cells have been cancelled by order of Major Barnett. I keep wanting to call him Barrett, but that's not his name. Barnett. So quad helix should be referring to the DNA. So it's like normal DNA, but doubled. Wonder if that's like in a cross shape or in a like square shape. But it says it's supposed to be replicative stability, which would imply Things infected with FEV, like cells infected with FEV, don't age basically, or organisms infected with FEV don't age, because the symptoms that we consider to be the signs of aging come from the fact that the DNA in your cells, it kind of has end caps or bookend kind of, but basically a little bit of that gets shaved off each time the cell duplicates, and the symptom of the duplicate of the end cap starting to run out on your DNA strands is the same as like the symptoms of aging, so like graying hair and like wrinkling skin, that kind of stuff is the result of the end caps on your DNA running out. So this would suggest that, organisms that have FEV do not age, or cannot die from simply the effects of aging. And then it mentions that plants can be infected with FEV, or at least plant cells can be infected with FEV and not get killed by it, but no further research was done on it. May 9th, 2075. It's a little bit later. We infected several species of flatworm with FEV. Within hours, the worms had increased in size by 28%. 39 separate viral contagions were resisted by the population. Each sample was allowed to continue for several generations, and the new DNA structure was successfully passed on to the worm's progeny. Although only asexual reproduction was noticed in the samples, experiments with insects have had less success. Major Barnett has postponed these experiments until further notice. Okay, so we see the first sign of what looks like FEV mutations cannot be passed down by sexual reproduction. However, asexual reproduction in flatworms was okay. Log date June 30th, 2075. Several lab strains of white mice have been infected successfully with FEV. Again, an increase in size was noticed within hours. After 9 days, all mice had stabilized within 31% larger than the control group. Dissection revealed the most increase in size in striated muscle tissue in certain internal organs, such as the liver, heart, and kidneys. In a surprising finding, the infected mice were found to run mazes in less than half the time of the control group. More testing will be needed to confirm this finding as significant. November 9th, 2075. We've infected 28 rabbits with FEV. Half of the subjects were implanted with electrodes to monitor EEG activity before and after the infection. Increased electrical activity in the brain was noted in 32 seconds on average after injection. Again, the typical size increase was noted, however, increased aggression and posturing, especially among males, was noted as well. Sacrifice and perfusion yield brain tissue that showed increased dendritic connections, especially in the limbic system and frontal cortex. I don't know brain anatomy that well, but doesn't that mean frontal is all emotions and limbic is... It's possible that I'm getting it all wrong, but limbic should be like the basic behind the scenes stuff that keeps your body running. Then frontal cortex is all managing emotions, so they're more emotional, which would explain the aggression. January 12th, 2069. So at this point we are maybe 20 months away from the Great War. A little more than 20. I guess it's October. It's the end of October 2077. With batch 11.011, we have improved the mitotic cycle efficiency by 43%. We have infected 53 raccoons with the new strain. In addition to the now expected size increase, behavioral tests confirmed an increase in intelligence and manual dexterity by 39 points on the Schruller CAPS index. Unfortunately, several subjects escaped confinement and had to be hunted down and dispatched. Major Barnett, that's a typo, ordered the remaining subjects terminated. Two pairs were unaccounted for. Huh. Melodic's that one Pokemon from Gen 3 that's really good. That one water type, that's pretty good. But that has to do with how cells metabolize energy. So that's cool. May 13th, 2076, we have spliced several new gene sequences supplied by Major Barnett's advisory team into FEV. With batch 11101A, we infected 23 dogs of both pure and mixed breed, and all experienced nearly immediate growth. The large size was accompanied with increased aggressiveness, while no significant intelligence increase was noted. We plan to attempt crossover of 92 allele pairs with batch 11011. All subjects were terminated after 14 weeks of study. October 4th, 2076. The crossover has been complete, and 15 chimpanzees were infected with batch 11111. Were infected with batch 11111. Growth and immunity levels are unprecedented. Attempts to induce cancers in the subjects through radiological and chemical agents were not successful. Increased aggressiveness have led to isolating subjects. 2 subjects suffered violent epileptic seizures and died. All remaining subjects terminated. January 7th, 2077. Major Barnett ordered transfer of all FEV research to the Mariposa military base. He plans to continue the project experiments on volunteer subjects. I'm against this. I would like it noted here that research on human subjects is not recommended by myself or my staff. Interesting. So I think we found the source of the mutants, or at least we have the name for the source of the mutants and its cause. So from a hard sci-fi approach, it seems that it was described that FEV changes the DNA structure, making it a quad helix instead of a double helix. It improves the body's ability to metabolize energy. It seems that it makes it impossible for the organism to die of old age. It seems they become extremely resistant to disease, radiation, and general infections. They, however, become physically stronger, but also experience much more drastic emotional states, or at least become more aggressive, with no hint of them becoming any smarter at all, which kind of sounds like our super mutants, I guess. And all of this was shipped to Mariposa military base, so it sounds like we just need to find Mariposa military base now. And actually, in this locker right here, I just found another holodisk. So what is this one? Alpha Experiments log. Prototype Panimmunity Virin Project. So based on its use of that name, this is probably coming before the previous one. In the hopes of countering the current bacteriological and viral agents employed by the Chinese government, so meaning they are using biological agents, bioweapons. We have manufactured a virus fragment consisting of ribonucleic acid encased in a protein lipid sheath. This virin contains a specially arranged sequence of irradiated amino acids capable of attaching to nonspecific binding sites on deoxynucleic acid DNA and force a non-replicating mitosis to occur. The resulting host cell is left with a quadruple helix DNA structure. That's weird. So what it's basically saying is that they specifically designed a virus that causes cells to duplicate their DNA, but just double it. So you end up with a quad helix instead of a double. So maybe it's 2 side by side instead of like a square or a cross. That's what it sounds like. Early tests are promising. The virion easily penetrates the cell membrane and attaches directly to the host DNA in the nucleus. Mitosis of the structure begins almost immediately. Cytokinesis is prevented by controlling the disposition of the connector fibers during anaphase. The entire mitosis cycle lasts approximately 2 hours, although phenotypical expression of the new structure may take days or weeks to become apparent. In addition to effective immunity to bacterial and viral agents, the quad helix structure is almost entirely immune to errors induced in base pairing during the replicative process due to multiplicity of the base sequence. Radiation-exposed tissue showed no mutation in the base sequence and protein synthesis mechanisms, and the ribosomes were unimpaired. Okay, so what it's saying is that they are specifically hardening DNA so that it is resistant to things that normally mess up cells during cell replication, which is kind of like what viruses do, and it is how like radiation poisoning works, and that is how like cancer works and other mutations work. Well, not entirely. Over 80% of the sample's tissue contained quad helix DNA. Most affected was muscle and bone tissue, as well as secretory cells, as these cells seem most receptive to furin. Sensory cells are the least effective. Surprisingly, even normally non-replicating nerve cells and non-somatic cells were induced to begin mitosis. Further experiments will be necessary to determine the results on these cells. Oh, that's interesting. That's probably... I'm not sure what non-somatic means. I'm sure I'm going to have to do a lot of work in editing this now. Not sure what non-somatic, but yeah, nerve cells, like nerve damage, is normally permanent damage because a lot of those cells are almost never replaced in the body. So it sounds like FEV could actually be used to repair a lot of significant damage. So it seems like we have had quite the biology experiment. I'm sure I'm going to have a great time editing this video, trying to double check all of the wrong biological information that I mentioned. Most of my bio knowledge is coming from like the crash course videos. I never took chemistry, and I only took bio in freshman year. That was like 7 years ago. Freshman in college, I mean. But anyways, I think next time we are going to pick up with returning to the Brotherhood of Steel. I think we have quite the conversation to have with them. We also need to make a stop into LA at some point to kill that Deathclaw. But those are both good goals to have for next time. I think I'm going to finish looting this in between episodes. But those are both great goals to carry on next time. But until then, I'm Riley with Moving Parts Gaming. This has been Fallout 1. Alright, stay tuned and I will see you next time.